No, they're leaning in them and rocking in them. Is what they're doing.
The time is 6:25. I'll call the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting to order. Joe Harvey will present a performance contract for Five for Fighting.
Yeah. So, we actually got reached out to for this one. Made us feel good about it. But yeah, the Wasserman agency offered us a date with Five for Fighting, who was a early 2000s hit maker. Pretty notable group. Had some really big hits, especially if you were into Dawson's Creek back in the day.
No.
Sorry, you were the only one on the board.
I know, sorry.
But anyways, reasonable contract, pretty standard for some of our bigger shows. Guaranteed payment of $10,000, then we've given them a chance to, at certain ticket sale points, when we're well beyond our break-even point, they have a chance to get 2 bonus payments. So, we're really excited about it. PTAB loved it. Everybody I've talked to about it's really excited about it, and especially my preacher. I was really surprised by that. Told my preacher he got jazzed about it, man. I was really excited about that. But anyways, so we have this before us, and if you have any questions, I'll be more than welcome, glad to answer them now.
Anybody have any questions for Joe?
Oh, the money's in the budget, by the way. It's just a matter of you guys giving the approval for me to spend it.
Motion to approve.
So I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? I'll second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, hearing none. That motion passes. You have approval to spend it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. There's no more business for Parks and Rec. We'll call this meeting adjourned.
That's a potential gross
Right.
revenue.
But I know.
Yeah, not
A
what we pay
guaranteed
out.
payment is 10,000. It is 6:30. We have two public hearings for this evening. The first is to hear comments regarding the rezoning of a property located on Pay Street from R1 to R6 Smart Growth. The second is to hear comments for adopting the 2020 National Fire Protection Agency National Electrical Codes. We will hear these concurrently. If you are here to discuss or give comment regarding Pay Street, the time to do that is now, as once we get into the full board meeting and begin discussion about that amongst the board, public comment will not be allowed at that time. So if you wish to address the board, please approach the podium and state your name for the record.
First, I appreciate the opportunity to address this group of city leaders and fellow McMinnville residents. And I'm Carol Rutledge. I live at 302 Pay Street. I would appreciate the same courtesy to be extended to me as to other speakers, regardless of my position on the topic. I am here to protect my property investment and my retirement, which is my home. If my property value decreases during the development or after, I stand to lose a lot as do my neighbors. This new subdivision will either increase my property value or decrease it. I would like to ensure the first. Some will say I am selfish and against progress. There is nothing further from the truth. I am standing up myself, my neighbors, working to protect from what all else we have worked for to build over many, many years. The last time this topic was discussed in this forum, the aldermen voted to allow property owner to develop R1, housing potentially raising property values for the Bel Air subdivision instead of decreasing them. R1 allows the developer to build single-family homes with a minimum square footage and lot size. This is good news for the property owner, developer, and the residents of Bel Air subdivision. This decision would ensure consistency with homes and lots that already exist and hopefully decrease the likelihood of decreased property values. Today we are here once again to reconsider the builder's appeal for R6 zoning, allowing smaller homes, smaller lots, not consistent with the neighborhood that already exists. Condos and apartments were ruled against the last time. Now the developer has found a loophole in that decision and is back to appeal to voting members for something slightly different: tiny homes, smaller homes on smaller lots. I am raising the same concerns as previously discussed. First and foremost, the historical preservation of the Bel Air subdivision and potential decrease in property values if smaller homes are built. In addition to this concern, smaller homes mean more people, wider roads with a turn line prudentially, and plan to control watershed, none of which have been properly addressed. I am urging the aldermen to support your early decision. Nothing has changed except more houses mean better profit margins for the developer and all business owners profiting from this development. A reversal of your earlier decision may impact all homeowners in the Bel Air community, and for future decisions have the same impact on historical neighborhoods. This reversal could threaten all historical neighborhoods in McMinnville, not just mine. Your neighborhood could be next. Thank you.
My name's Darlene Woodard. I live at 102 Vickers Drive. I frequently go down Pay Street. My mother lives on Red Road. I've lived in that area since '71. I agree with everything Ms. Rutledge has said. The Pay Street also, people try to walk and bike on that road. There's no sidewalks and there's blind hills and the increase in traffic. And if you just would keep it at the R1, I think people can live with that. We understand he bought it, he can build on it, But to give people a little bit more room and not bunch people up so much, you know, people need a little yard, kids need something to play in, dog to go out and walk. So if they would just keep it please at R1, that would be great.
Name's Michael Adamson. I live on 308 Page Street, across from said property. Been there since '99, about 26 years. I have invested in my home, the upkeep on it. I am not for changing to R6. One reason I purchased my home in '99 was because it was R1. Because I had already went through a similar situation. Now, understandably, we understand, of course, I love looking at the field across in front of my house. I love to keep it that way, but understandably, we all knew that there was a day coming when development would happen over there. Of course, and I don't think anyone is really disputing building. I mean, but just as the others were saying, R1 is our neighborhood. And that's why myself, I purchased in that neighborhood. So I am against going R6. And I understand there is, like Carol said, bigger profit margins and everything. But is there really? I mean, if you keep it R6, there is still profit to be made. You can build one house, I'm a contractor, you can build one house and make a profit. You don't have to shove 500 on a little area, you know. But my thinking is we need to leave it as it is, because I've been invested in my place and I don't want to have to move and I don't want more traffic than possible, but we're not against building as long as it's building under the R1 that we already have that's existing. We are fine with that, but we're not fine changing to the R6.
Hello, everybody. My name's Ron Lee. I live on Lynn Street, so I'm not don't live in this neighborhood, but my business used to be on that side of town. Got a lot of friends live on there. I serve as your first district, one of your first district commissioners on the county, and have been on our county commission, our county planning commission for several years. We've had some liberal thoughts in our planning commission for a big farm out near Centertown School, 150 acres to be divided into 375 homes. And of course, it would have to have a small lot to do that, down to 3,700 square feet for a lot. Well, that was shut down by our county planning commission, and they come back a second time, we shut it down again, because we wanted to protect our county taxpayers with what the integrity we got, 15,000 square feet per lot. That's what everybody has. And so I don't think reducing your lot size is gonna help. The one thing that bothers me today, and I had a planning commission meeting tonight, just before I got here, is the Clayton mobile home that has been brought in on Lagoon Street. I asked my director from Cookville that oversees our planning commission meeting, Tommy Lee, from with Upper Cumberland. I said, Tommy, would you give me a description of a mobile home and a modular home? He said, yes. Mobile home have a steel frame with tires and wheels under it and a tongue to pull it in. A modular home will come in on a tractor trailer and be picked up by a crane and set on a permanent foundation. So when did the city of McMinnville start letting double wides come in? That concerns me, and I sure hope they don't make smaller lots in front of my friends on Pay Street and fill it full of double wides. Thank you.
My name's Larry Judkins. I live at 310 Page Street. I've been there 50 years. I would like to see the neighborhood stay R1. All this watershed and that whole neighborhood ended up behind my mother's house on Jefferson Street. And I have to give credit to Mr. Bill Brock when he was over Public Works. He kept the sinkhole cleaned out and the water drained good. I guess my big concern is I haven't seen any plats or any number of houses. I mean, how can you vote on something when you hadn't seen anything? And I told Mr. Hale, now he did build some nice houses on Lagoon Drive over there. If he builds houses like that, I don't have a problem. I know it's gonna have to come. I'm not against progress. I just think it ought to be done right. And we're still there, you know, when he goes, he's gone. We're still there. So, that's something to think about. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Roger Yates and I live on Delano Street. The past 58 years I have either lived in the neighborhood or have spent every major holiday and most weekends of my life there. I moved back to the neighborhood in August of 2020. Like the builder, I have the right to stand here and plead with you all to review everything before the property zoning is changed from R1 to R6 for Pay Street. However, unlike the builder, I will have to live with the outcome of the neighborhood once the build for Pay Street is complete. The builder can adjust their next build while our neighborhood will have to live with whatever fallout is created. In the past, our neighborhood has always been the experiment. We had both Aquatech and Waste Away in our neighborhood. Aquatech caused blue water to bubble up out of the drains in the neighborhood, while years later, Waste Away generated an oily residue over everything outside, and we had a burning trash smell. Now it seems our neighborhood is supposed to be another experiment for R6 zoning. I was only able to find 2 houses listed as R6 zoning, and one of those is on Cadillac Lane. The 2 houses there are new, they're for sale, but they've got very small front yards, very small backyards, and they're close together. And both are listed for $298,000 each, and they boast a lot size of 10,018 square feet. Our neighborhood does not need to be another experiment. We were told in December that Heron Homes is unsure how many houses will be built on the 20+ acres. My research via the internet shows that 4 units can be created per acre of ground for R1 zoning. That is 70 to 80 houses, and again, that is for R1 zoning. I found another site that stated 7.1 units could be generated per acre for R6 zoning. That means that that could be a possibility of 140 units, which is more than just an extra handful of houses. Changing the zoning allows for more availability of houses to be built, but not affordability. These houses that will probably be listed similar to the houses Heron Homes has built on Lagoon Avenue, which were priced around $270,000. At that price point, they would make a lot of money. In my research, I found an article in the Southern Standard from 2020 when Mayor Chastain was vice mayor. The Board of Aldermen all voted against the zoning change due to it appearing to be spot zoning, as all surrounding parcels of the tract are zoned R1, which is exactly what we have with Pay Street. The acreage that is in the city limit is either surrounded by agriculture or R1 zoning. I implore each and every one of you to think about changing the zoning from R1 low density residential and the impact it can have on our neighborhood in the city of McMinnville. Please keep our neighborhood's integrity by keeping it R1. Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak? Just a reminder, once we start talking about this as a board in the full board meeting, public comment will not be allowed. All right, that is sufficient time for comment. We will consider both of these public hearings closed. call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the McMinnville City Board of Mayor and Aldermen. The first item on the agenda is roll call.
Sally Brock,
Present.
Deidre Dunlap,
Present.
Steve Harvey,
Here.
Rachel Kirby,
Here.
Carrie Morton,
Here.
Kara Youngblood,
Here.
Mayor Chastain.
Present. The next item on the agenda is consideration of minutes. Each member of the board should have received those in their agenda packets. If there are no requests for additions, corrections, or deletions, I'll entertain a motion to dispense with their reading and approve them as read.
So moved.
A motion by Ms. Sally Brock,
Second.
second by Ms. Rachel Kirby. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Item 3 is recognition of visitors. If anyone wishes to address the board, please approach the podium and state your name for the record.
We can't hear you.
Uh-oh.
It's on.
It's on.
The next item on the agenda is recognition of employees. We have several department heads here this evening. If anyone wishes to give recognition to city employees, come on up.
Misty Jett down in the accounting department has been with us for a while, but this past year, she took a 12-month CMFO course and graduated in December after her 10 exams. So if you see her, give her a pat on the back and tell her congratulations. It's not an easy feat. So thank you.
I'd like to recognize John Alston. He's been with the city for a while. He will be taking Hank Patton's place at the end of the month.
It's big shoes to fill.
Yep.
He's got a huge speech to,
Yeah, he does. He's been with us since 2008, so he's well aware of what role he's stepping into. I also wanted to recognize John and Aaron Reisner. So Friday during the snow, I made a phone call. I said, is there any way that you guys can come over and clear a path so we can get to the parking lot and leave? And John immediately got Aaron and a crew together and cleared that. Also wanted to go ahead and give the Good Guy Award to Sean Garrett, who, prior to everyone leaving, went out and cleaned the snow off of everyone's vehicle and started it. He also, I think, several nights last week started everyone's vehicle before we left. So,
Thank you, guys.
I would also like to recognize our new tourism and marketing manager, Jordan Pujols. Jordan is back there. Stand up and wave to everyone.
Yay.
She's been hard at work already. I guess she's been here about a month and already making some good progress.
Item 5 is communications. Item 5A is a request from Young Men United to hold a Martin Luther King March on January 20th from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Yes, I'm Ella Richmond, Vice President of Young Men United. And Young Men United and the Black History Museum come together to sponsor different events during the year. And we have requested that nothing's ever been done here in McMinnville for Martin Luther King's Day. So we're not calling it a march, we're calling it a unity celebration walk.
Okay.
So I'm just
Where will
kinda-
this be?
It will start at the Bernard Gym, and it will go down to Bernard Drive, turn on East Main, East End. Go to East End, turn on Holly Street. Holly Street, turn on Cedar Street, back around to East Main, and back to the gymnasium.
Okay.
And then we will have a program afterwards there at the gym. Bishop Michael Harris would do a speech there. And then Colin Trim, my grandson, 12 years old, he would do the Martin Luther King speech. And we will serve dinner afterwards.
Excellent. Well, I will entertain a motion to approve this request.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Carrie Morton,
Second.
second by Ms. Sally Brock. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
And we'll accept everyone and everybody come out and be with us.
Sure will. Thank you. Item 5B is a request from Junior Auxiliary of McMinnville to use the aerobics room at the Milner Rec Center on Saturday, April 9th for Hopping into Health from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Yes, so Junior Auxiliary reached out to me, got with Don Hitchcock at the front, and we checked that date. That date is available. Just wanted to make sure that they had the space.
And are they requesting for fees to be waived?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Since this is a nonprofit organization, so I will entertain a motion to approve the request by Junior Auxiliary.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Deidre Dunlap.
Second.
Second by Ms. Rachel Kirby. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Justin. Item 6 is petitions. There are none. Item 7 is unfinished business. Item 7A is discussion of police station and resolution number 2072, which at the time authorized the selection of Old Morrison Road location near 202 Bell Street that would allow AEI architects to prepare plans, specs, and bid documents for construction. Part of this did take place, and I believe at the time, due to financial constraints, the board at the time opted not to move forward with this project as it was laid out. Nolan, along with the water department and the police department, and I have been throwing around some ideas about how to move forward with a new police station. I don't think there's any denying that the city of McMinnville needs this project. Unfortunately, due to a number of reasons, the police department has been relocated to one place or another for over a decade now. And not only are they deserving of a permanent home, but the city just needs that to happen overall. So there are some options for us to move forward with this from a financial standpoint. We do have the property, the Pacesetters property that we purchased a couple of years ago. There is a lot of interest in that property with the completion of the Magnus Drive extension. We've had a number of suitors contact the city asking to purchase that property, and it's not as easy as just saying, okay, yeah, we'll sell that to you. So that is a source of income. We estimate that property being worth somewhere between $1 million and $1.5 million, I believe, on the assessments, unofficial assessments that we've had so far. That is money that could go towards a police department project. And the next one may be somewhat surprising, but selling of this building, City Hall, could net the city what we think could be several $1 million. It could be used for retail, it could be used for downtown housing, and those bits of money combined could allow for the city to build and pay for a municipal center, or to build on and add to the existing structure at 202 Bell Street, and that be kind of a multi-purpose center for the city. So there is a lot that would go into this, obviously. I don't expect for, and we can't really take any action on this tonight. I mean, this is gonna be a long process if this is something that the city wants to pursue. Obviously, there's gonna have to be a lot of joint committee meetings between water, building and grounds, and safety. And then ultimately, this information is gonna have to come back to the full board in order to pursue some official plans. So that is why this is on here this evening under unfinished business, just to kind of throw that out there so that everybody's on the same page about the potential for that project.
There are two different resolutions right now, 2077 and 2072, is that right? So 2072 specific, is that right? What's the number? 2070?
2072 was the small little parcel that's just below where the water treatment center is now. And then the resolution 2077 was authorizing the city to enter into an agreement with Peter Metz of AEI Architects.
So 2072 at the moment would allow, if we move forward with that today, would just solidify our decision to put the new building in that location as opposed to the Bell Street location.
Correct.
Okay,
These have already passed.
Yeah.
they have already passed.
So that, if we went a different direction, 2072 would have to be, what would the legal term be, rescinded? Yeah.
I feel like it would be good in that spot with a new building. I would like to move forward with that. If,
I thought we just said we didn't have enough information as to
I said,
all the different,
there's a lot out there, but again, there is a lot to consider. Funding, where's that gonna come from? Is there interest with the rest of this board in selling city property to foot the bill for something like this? So really, I think we probably need to, from a procedural standpoint, would be to just call joint meetings with all the involved departments and go from there.
if we just table it, how much longer does this take?
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be tabled, that would be getting the ball rolling, because it ultimately is gonna have to go back to committee for a vast majority of this to take place.
So, and it's already been passed, so we could just proceed with this, potentially, as far as the location.
Yeah.
Okay, can we talk about that?
I'm all in favor of selling the Paceseries building. I don't think it does anything for us in the use that we would have. But I think we would be not doing our citizens a good service if we didn't at least explore the option of using a portion of the existing building at the old garment factory on Bell Street to convert that into a portion of that into the police station. It's a good building, it's got a new roof, it's structurally sound, and I'm not talking about a remodel like we had on Red Road. I'm talking about a professionally done, architecturally done remodel that would wind up with a really nice facility, and we could potentially save
a lot of money. Yeah,
A whole lot of money.
Another option that had been discussed was essentially refitting that building would be significantly less expensive than building a brand new facility, and it could still be used multi-purpose, like literally a municipal center. So again, as Ms. Kirby said, there's just a lot to discuss and a lot of options that could come into play, so.
Do we have a price at all for a new building?
At the time, it was like $4.5 or $5 million, but that was several years ago, so.
So we don't have anything today?
No.
And we have estimate, I've talked to 3 developers that said, like Steve said, that building is a good building. The pad's there, the structure's good, it's sound, it has a new roof, it's an easy remodel to make it nice for $100 a square foot, which comes to about, at the most, $1.5 million. As opposed to, we're talking
Now
over
7 or
5
8,
to
yeah.
7,
Yeah.
somewhere between the $5 and $7 million range.
$300 a square foot for new.
So what about the sale, you were talking about the sale of this building,
That is just an idea.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
I know.
I got information on that too as well.
Do we have a
We have an
price of
unofficial
all these?
estimate that this building could be worth somewhere around $7 million.
Where is that coming from? I I mean, I just don't see that, and I don't hear that,
Yeah,
that kind of number at all.
could be. I mean,
hear a
again,
lower
that's
number.
totally unofficial. That's not an official appraisal or anything like
Right.
that.
So, Resolution 2077 is for the City of McMinnville to authorize to enter into an agreement with AEI architects, engineers, and planners to prepare plans, specifications, and bid documents for the construction of a new police department building.
And we already have those, don't we, Nolan? Did he not?
He started, but we only spent 12,000 of the $100,000 contract. So he got started with a very simple concept, but we would need to start over.
Sure.
I mean, if we move forward with this particular resolution, at least we would then have the information to make an informed decision about what it's gonna cost now, how we could move forward with the construction of a new one. I mean, I understand that there's question of retrofitting this other building, but I think we need good information about how much a new building would cost too, currently. So moving forward with this would at least give us that information, instead of speculating.
I mean, wasn't that about a year ago when we met with Peter at the Pacer building?
Yes.
Roughly.
It was
Yeah.
freezing.
That's when we got those numbers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's constantly changing, but it's not like it was 4 years ago.
Are you talking about the police station numbers or the Pacesetters lot numbers?
To do something with the police department at the
At the
Pacesetters
Pacesetters.
building.
Well,
But
we
that's
also
not,
had,
but that's not what this is about.
Yeah, that was totally separate.
Well, on the same day, we did meet at 202 Bell Street and walk the site with Peter to look at building out, like you're talking about, a portion of 202 Bell Street. So, those numbers that he provided, I think at the time, he said it would cost more to build that out, but at the time, we hadn't replaced the roof or repaired the walls that needed to be repaired. So I think the facts are different now, and I think those costs would be much more.
but he also gave us numbers on new construction, right?
That's right. I think it's $300 a square foot.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have
We
that.
We have an updated, pretty good ballpark, yeah.
Which would be what?
It's not gonna be any less, $5.5 million.
300,000 per square foot for new, and then 150,000, or $150
Yeah.
per square foot for, build out at 202 Bell Street. That's a very rough guess.
I would like to see the McMinnville Police Department have their own location that's specific to them. They've never, in the history of being organized as a police department for our city, had their own location, and I think it's time. I mean, we can't, and budget is important, and I'm not saying that it's not important, but I think that safety is a top priority in any civilized community, and it's time to give them something that they deserve. And we have a lot of other options that we could use this other building for, but, you know, in 2019, we wanted to give them a new place specifically for them, and I don't know why we can't move forward with that now.
I mean, I'd say the most logical thing to do is we're just gonna have to get the financials, you know, estimates on a new building, estimates on a refit of what we already have. And, you know, compare the two and move forward in that regard.
Would it make sense to schedule a workshop, a less formal meeting where we can just, without any, you know, real guardrails, just sit and talk through all the options and come up with a plan from there?
I mean, we've done that for stuff before, so I don't see why not.
We could even engage Peter in the discussions. I don't, you know, we have a contract with him, it might need to be renewed, but.
Sure.
I think he'd be willing to join us and talk through our options and be a part of that.
I think that would be beneficial.
Do we need to make a motion to continue with Resolution 277 to be able to talk to him, to
No, it's
hire
al-
him.
that's already passed. I mean, that's,
I think that it's up tonight so that we can make a motion to proceed with it, with the existing resolution as approved.
I do think in talking with Peter, he would feel more comfortable having an updated contract.
yeah.
And, you know, if you all agree, we can bring back an updated contract for Peter and then engage in the workshop process.
So why don't we make a motion for an updated contract for him?
Yeah.
And then after that's done, then we'll sit down and do our workshop.
The contract does say new construction. I mean, not the
The
well,
resolution.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the resolution says that, so, I mean, what
Well, it
would
would be a
happen?
new police station,
Yeah,
technically speaking.
so what would happen if we did do a renovation?
How does that read specifically? It just says for the construction of a new McMinnville Police Department building. I think that's general enough.
Okay.
Do you?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, if you can engage with Peter as quickly as possible and discuss the need for a new contract as well as his willingness to participate in a workshop,
Sure.
or planning session, however you wanna call it, and then we can go from there.
I'm on it.
Do we need a motion to proceed with this existing resolution?
No, cause it's already been passed by a previous board.
Yeah, it seems like we all agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else to come, before the board for unfinished business? Hearing none, we'll move to item 8, new business. Item 8A is selection of members to the Tourism Advisory Committee. Last year, the Tourism Development Board, as we knew it, was dissolved by the city with the formation of a new tourism committee within the city, and then in conjunction with that, we will have a tourism advisory committee, very similar to the Park Theater Advisory Committee, for topics related to tourism. So, when we did this, we laid out various criteria for members that will be able to participate in this. Nolan, is there a way you can blow that up a little bit? So, a state parks representative, a local historian or member of the library, farmer's market representative, a McMinnville Hotel Motel representative, a short-term rental representative, a boating or outfitter store representative, dining establishment, and then a non-voting youth member. So I know that there have been some names already mentioned: Brent Bain from the Farmers Market, Kevel Sheth of the Inn, Lucas Patterson for McMinnville Short-Term Rentals, Todd Barker for Outfitter, Kayaker Business, Anna Sands, a dining establishment, and Sarah Grissom as a non-voting youth representative. I believe we still lack state parks representative.
I talked to Jay Walker,
Yeah.
he would be willing to do it, and I also talked to, Emily Stefanik Sugar's son about being the non-youth
Mhm.
as well.
And then a historian or library manager. I think that covers us outside of those two. So, we don't have to take action on this tonight because obviously there still needs to be some discussions with various members of the community to see if they'd even be amenable to doing this. So I would say perhaps by the next meeting, if everybody could come with their considerations or recommendations for for these individuals, and then we can establish our tourism advisory committee at that time. Is that okay with the rest of the board? Okay. Any further new business to come before the board? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 9, resolutions. Item 9A is resolution number 2025-01 to purchase 7 mobile radios in the amount of $41,996 from Motorola Solutions from quote number 2811421. This will authorize the city administrator to issue the necessary purchase order on behalf of the city and to express the time when the resolution becomes effective. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Carrie Morton,
Second.
second by Ms. Sally Brock. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Sally Brock,
Yes.
Deidre Dunlap,
Aye.
Steve Harvey,
Yes.
Rachel Kirby,
Yes.
Carrie Morton,
Yes.
Carol Youngblood,
Yes.
Mayor Chastain.
Aye, motion passes. Item 9 is resolution number 2025-02 to authorize and provide the financing of the construction of the water facilities project, including authorizing the execution of applications, contracts, and other necessary documents, and making certain representations, certifications, and pledges of specific revenue in connection with financing, authorizing the mayor to issue necessary paperwork and express the time when this resolution becomes effective. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sally Brock,
Second.
second by Ms. Rachel Kirby. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Sally Brock,
Yes.
Deidre Dunlap,
Aye.
Steve Harvey,
Yes.
Rachel Kirby,
Yes.
Carrie Morton,
Yes.
Carol Youngblood,
Yes.
Mayor Chastain.
Aye, motion passes. Item 10 is ordinances. Item 10A is ordinance number 2025-01 to change the zoning classification of a property commonly known as TBD Pace Street, tax ID 058002.0 from R1 low density residential to R6 smart growth, and express the time when the resolution becomes effective. Is there a motion to approve? I'll make a motion to approve item 10A. Do I have a second? Nobody even want to discuss this because we understand that it
No.
will fail for a lack of a second.
We need to discuss it. I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Sean, you want to come up?
So the request is to go from R1 to R6. Planning Commission did make a recommendation that was a unanimous vote of the Planning Commission, minus Kara, who was not at that meeting, to recommend to the board to approve the rezone request. It will be in compliance with the master plan. We cannot give a firm number, but roughly we're looking at about 12 to 16 additional lots versus that of R1. If I can, on a few of the comments on that. So as far as smaller houses, the smaller lots do not automatically equate to smaller houses. Each residential district has a maximum lot coverage, so it maximize it. You may not be able to ultimately have a super large house on a smaller lot because you could exceed that lot coverage. But a 1,200 square foot house would be well within the maximum lot coverage for R6 or R1, and so it will not automatically equate to a smaller house. If you take a acre, which is 43,560 square feet, and divide that by the minimum 15,000 square feet for R1, that is 2.904 lots per acre. If you do R6, 10,000, that is 4.356. While that seems like it's double, the practicality and reality is not, because you have to consider roadways, any drainage features, all of that stuff, which then starts narrowing and making down that land that would not allow for double those lots. With this, any development that has 30 single-family homes or more per the International Fire Code will require 2 entryways to go to that property. And so you have 2 roadways, local streets minimum right-of-way width is 50 feet, 40 if there is curb and gutter. So you start adding all those factors in, that starts necking it down. And so the maximum amount of lot coverage would not be double or near double that compared to R1.
What about stormwater drainage?
Stormwater, we have stormwater regulations, and is also working on updating that. That's a state and local law that will have to be enforced, and that will all be addressed to ensure ensure that any additional stormwater created by the development is addressed, retained, and does not affect the neighborhood. And that could be through retention or detention ponds, a variety of different things
Yeah,
to address that.
understand there's already a problem over there with drainage, is that right?
I'm not aware of any stormwater drainages in that area. You, Frank?
Jefferson Street, I mean, it's 2 or 3 streets over, which all the water goes to Acadian.
Okay, I had heard that there was a drainage problem with one of the properties over there already.
And as far as the plan for the stormwater, need to know how much impervious surface, roadways, roof coverings, all that's gonna be tied to that in order to develop what that plan's gonna be in property.
Yeah, like what was discussed in the planning commission meeting, this is just the first step.
Right.
The reason
Yeah.
that there are no plans for plats and all of the stormwater mitigation is because this has to be passed first.
I know that.
So that it can go forward. And
Yes.
even if this passes, that doesn't mean that that project is gonna come to fruition, because it still has to go through codes and be up to snuff with state regulations and
Yep.
local regulations and stuff like that.
Yeah, with our subdivision regulations, we also have mitigation factors in there where you can get a subdivision approved and not put in the related infrastructure, where they could start it, build a small amount, and then bail. We can require bonds and that type of stuff to make sure that the infrastructure is at least placed in, and then the lots would be available. So they wouldn't be able to just get it approved and then bail on it and not put any of that in. And with the subdivision process, twofold, you have preliminary plat, and then you have the final plat. Final plat cannot be approved until the infrastructure is in place and approved and accepted, or they put that bond up to make sure that we have that, so that it is gonna be put in place. And no building permits can be issued until the final plat has been approved.
So how many homes would you suspect or guess?
I would, as a very rough number,
Yeah.
60
60?
roughly versus 50 for R1. Is that roughly about what you got calculation?
Did you say 60 for
Yeah.
R6 and about 50 for R1?
Yes.
Yeah.
60 homes?
Yes, 60 lots and eventually 60 homes.
Okay.
And
That's,
I was on that planning commission when
That's a
it first
lot.
came up.
more than I
And we had a big discussion about all of these
I
issues.
had heard there were like
And
44.
in that discussion, we talked about all of the things that had come up tonight. But we also talked about when R6 started to be used, we looked and I asked at the time, where would we use R6? And it was to be the best use for R6 during that planning commission discussion was in these lots that were really, couldn't be used for anything else. You know, it was a lot here, a lot here, a lot, just scattered out in, because I said, inside the city, where would this, be used? Just a piece here, a piece there. It was the subdivision of R6 that bothered me then. Just these small houses, the small lots. Murfreesboro does it, a lot of places does it. It's fine. But I did ask that question in that planning commission meeting about the R6 and where would it touch McMinnville? And it was just a few places, and it was really gonna be used to help these small lots that couldn't be developed for anything else. So it worked well for those. But it was the construction of big parcels of land that disturbed me at the time, and planning commission as well. And it was ultimately denied. And I mean, it was zoned R1, people that bought there relied on it when they bought their homes. And, I'm a big believer in continuing that protection for them. That's what they paid for. That's what they planned for. So I think it's a little easier on paper to say R6 is fabulous, because it's fine, it's great. But when you look at it and, there's all different perspectives. And when you look at it that's what I see.
I can understand that. In regards to protecting R1, are we protecting larger lots, or are we protecting single-family dwellings? Because R6 is outside of a smaller lot. The purpose of it is for single-family dwellings.
I know, it's,
No apartments.
No.
And
It's
no
not allowed for
tiny homes.
duplexes, it's not allowed for any of that. One thing to note on that is with R1, does allow for accessory apartments with approval of a special exception by the Board of Zoning Appeals. With the special exception for state law, if it meets all the requirements, those have to be approved. So this is not the plan, but theoretically, if it was kept R1 and they subdivided that, there could be apartments on each one of those houses through the approval, unless they did not meet the requirements. Again, it would have to be approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals, and that would actually be equal to or further density than going to R6.
Is that likely to happen?
It's not likely, I'm just saying it's a possibility. I don't think they have any intention to that, but future owners may.
You're talking about where you just build a living space on your lot, detached
It'd
from
have to be
your house?
attached to the house or in the basement, anything of that nature. There's some limitations on it, but you still would have additional people coming in from a traffic standpoint and that type of stuff.
And with R6, they have to have 2 streets in and
Yes,
out?
any development that has 30 or more single-family dwellings for the fire code has to have 2 entranceways coming in.
So they can't just have that one
No.
go in and that's it, and one come out?
On either one?
Because that's so that you have 2 fire apparatus roads so that there's more safe ability for the firefighters to get in and address any issues that may come up.
Do you know when R6 became like even,
I think it got added to the zoning right around 2012.
We just didn't really know we had it. Because I remember we kind of discovered it along the way, right? Oh, we have this R6 that could work, and I can't remember what lot it was that we couldn't do anything with, and then the R6 could.
Another thing I want to dispel from the comments is last time this came up, the board did not vote to keep this property R1. It voted against rezoning for the zoning classification that was conducive to the condos, townhomes, and the higher density home projects. So that's something else to
Actually, I
consider.
don't know that we voted at all. I think we just sent it to the board. I don't think there was.
Planning Commission didn't vote.
No,
We
you
didn't
sent it
vote.
to the
We just said
board.
we're,
Full board voted.
No, that's what I'm saying, is the Board of Mayor and Aldermen
oh, okay, sorry.
voted not to rezone it conducive to the higher density project that would have been, I think, like.
192 townhomes.
Yeah. So this is obviously very significantly different from that proposal.
It is.
Anything else from you?
No. Anything else among the board?
I mean, I like what they're doing. I mean, I think it's a good project, and I think that they would do an excellent job. But I mean, the same thing keeps coming up, that these people bought their homes with, you know, the assumption that it's an R1 now and it's gonna stay that way, and there's not much R1 left, and I just feel like we have to protect that in this situation. You know, we change zoning a lot of times. I mean, I voted for zoning changes all the time, but the situations are different, and, you know, a lot of times we have these meetings and no one shows up. Nobody, it doesn't matter to anybody what we're changing, you know, but in this case it does, and it affects a lot of people.
In that same vein, I would be remiss if I did not mention this, because it did come up in the Planning Commission meeting. This request checks all the boxes for this rezoning by state and local statute, and we do risk and could be sued if we did not do this. I'm not saying he will file a suit in court against us, but given that this checks all the boxes from a legal standpoint, if we deny it, he could sue us and the state would make us do this, and there'd be nothing that we could do about it. So I just want that on the table for consideration.
Why does it have to come to us then?
If we deny it when it meets all the legal criteria to be rezoned, if we just arbitrarily deny it,
But we're not arbitrarily denying it. If there's water issues to look at, traffic to look at, density to look at, what touches it, the other, I mean, that's not an
but we
arbitrary decision.
I mean, you've been on the commission, you know, there's a list of criteria that have to be met for something to be rezoned. this meets every single one of those. So, I mean, from the way it's been explained to me from a legal standpoint, if that were gonna go to court, that attorney would eat our lunch and we would be forced to do this.
I will say that the report from community development speaks to all the issues that you just brought up. So they've been addressed by the staff.
And again, the stormwater, the roads, the ingress, egress, all of that has to be touched upon before this moves forward. So, I mean, there's not gonna be any unknown going into that project should it go forward, the way he proposes.
But once we vote for the project, there's no turning back.
No.
I just as soon make the state force us to do it, frankly. That's just me.
So is there any further questions or discussion among the board? We do have a motion and a second, so we'll call for the vote. What?
Who was the first motion?
Me and Sally.
Okay. Sally Brock,
No.
Deidre Dunlap,
No.
Steve Harvey,
No.
Rachel Kirby,
No.
Carrie Morton,
No.
Carrie Youngblood,
No.
Mayor Chastain.
No, motion fails. Ordinance 10B, or item 10B is ordinance number 2025-02 to adopt the National Fire Code Protection Agency NFPA 70, the National Electrical Code 2020 version with amendments, and express the time this ordinance becomes effective.
I was trying to sneak back there a little too quick. So this is one of the final steps so that we can take over and we can start issuing and doing all the electrical inspections rather than have it done by the state. Per state statute, we have to adopt a code that's within 7 years of the most recent version. Most recent version of the NEC is in 2023. This puts us within that. The few amendments are some of them, one of those is that the 2020 requires an emergency disconnect outside, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I don't think we should require that. We should promote it. If you have that, it can help out emergency services, but it could also be problematic on the other side. And somebody could come in and turn that breaker off. Now it's located outside and cause those problems. A couple of the others was just some clarifying stuff. So all the amendments are listed in there, and that would also help minimize any additional costs associated with adopting the 2020 as the state is currently on the 2017.
Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Sally Brock,
Yes.
Deidre Dunlap,
Aye.
Steve Harvey,
Yes.
Rachel Kirby,
Yes.
Carrie Morton,
Yes.
Carrie Youngblood,
Yes.
Mayor Chastain.
Aye. Motion passes. Item 11 is departmental reports. We have several department heads here this evening. If anyone wishes to update the board on anything, come on up. Marty, how's Chief Kendall doing?
Nothing really new to update on, just about the same as it's been.
It was good to see him at the breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Mr. Ming, anything from you?
No.
Mr. Pearl?
I have something.
Yep.
I want to thank our streets, Frank, for taking care of the snow and making our streets safe for us to get out and about on, even the day after the snow.
Yes.
So, anyway,
Yes,
thank you for your
yes.
crew. Let everybody know that we said thank you.
All right, if there is nothing else to come before the board, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.